Hey guys, here with another video. About to lose my breath getting up on this roof. Anyways, I got a Trane YHC 092 that was just installed by our company. We didn't provide the equipment, we just did the labor. And we installed Honeywell Red Link thermostats on all of the package units. You got two there, one here, and there's several on the other side of that wall. But for some reason this one has been kicking our butt for a while. What happened was I was out here about 2 weeks ago and I found the ignition control board, which is right here. I found it flashing no, I'm sorry, it was just solid on, like it's just idle. And long story short, I replaced the RTRM board here that wasn't communicating with that ignition control board. System fired up, no issues. Well, came back out here again, they called for no heat, and I'm getting a one flash code on the ignition control board, which according to the panel, if I can get this thing to focus a little better, there we go. One flash is communication failure. So, I went back and got another RTRM board and replaced it. Obviously, the last visit and today, I checked all my wiring, checked the grounding of the system, just to make sure I didn't have any shorts or anything grounded. Everything checked out fine. Well, when I put the new RTRM board on this Trane unit and put it on test mode through these test pins right here, test 1 and test 2, this is a 2-stage gas. The inducer starts up on 2nd stage, and after about 10-15 seconds, it you know, if there's a 1st stage call, it'll slow back down to 1st stage speed, and then your gas valve will open up on 1st stage. Well, the second I would hear that gas valve click on 1st stage to open up, this thing just started clicking in and out like crazy. I mean, it was just bizarre. And eventually just had a brain fart and just sat there with just a solid LED light and nothing ran. The inducer shut off, everything went off. So it was kind of weird. So I kept backtracking, and the guy at Trane, their tech support, which is I'm not too fond of, to be honest with you, he was saying it might have been the wireless. See this right here, guys, this is the EIM for the Honeywell Red Link. He was saying it might have been an issue with this EIM interfering with that board, which I didn't believe that, because we have about 9 or 10 other package units and this is the only one doing it. I started pulling out all the other plugs for the economizer and some other stuff, and just left the J5 plug, which basically wires up and communicates to that board, and obviously the J1, which is your main bus you got to have on there, and it would still do it. So now that I told you what happened, what I found out was our issue is the gas valve. I pulled the wires out, and what I found was I ohmed out the gas valve, and I was getting like 14 mega ohms on high and like 9 mega ohms on low. And I actually compared that to that unit over here, and that unit, both high and low, gave me about 7.5 mega ohms. So I thought something was up. So what I did to confirm it, I pulled the wires, all the wires loose, common, low, and high on the gas valve, disconnected it, put the system on test mode, and you know, the spark igniter will go on, and eventually the system just kicked out, you know, for no flame sense, but it did not go haywire like it was going before. So to confirm that, to triple check everything, what I did was I put a single pole contactor, which you can see right here, and I wired up common that would go to the gas valve and the low stage wire that would go to the gas valve, wired it onto the contactor coil, and turned on the system, and it pulled the contactor, and I probably held it there for about 15 minutes and nothing went crazy on me. So for some reason, the coil inside this gas valve is drawing too many amps where it's causing a volt drop or something, and it's just frying this board. So I'm gonna go, I got the new gas valve with me. I'm gonna replace the gas valve and you know, check gas pressure and all that just to make sure all that's good to go. And hopefully I get some footage once this thing, hopefully this thing fires up and runs, and I don't have any more of a headache with this stupid unit. I'm about to throw this thing off the curb. So I'll get back with you guys. Alright guys, got the new gas valve in place right there. I got my manometer hooked up. I checked for gas leaks. Everything checked out fine. We're gonna put the sucker on test mode and see what happens here. Oh, gotta turn on the power first. Jump out, test 1, test 2. Sometimes these connections cause some issues. I think there's the blower. Next would be the compressor. Here is. We'll see what happens. Got my tools just about everywhere here. Sorry, I'm about to trip over here. There goes low stage. Alright guys, part 3. So I fired it up like you guys saw in the video, and it basically did the same thing it did before, but what I noticed was I checked my incoming gas pressure on the gas valve, and it was pretty low. I cranked it up with the regulator right over here, and since then I've cycled it about 10 times on both high and low stage, and it's smooth sailing right now. As you can see, as you can probably hear, we're running. We're fired up. And we don't have any issues so far. So I don't know how that causes it. I've never seen this before. How I guess low inlet gas pressure will cause sporadic, I guess you could say, solenoid action with the gas valve and cause all types of messes. So I don't know, never seen this before. If you guys have, if you know anything else, feel free to drop a comment, please. But so far, I'm gonna cycle it one more time before I head out here and take all my crap out of here off the roof. But I've cycled it already a number of times, and it looks good. So for some reason, just the low inlet gas pressure is affecting the gas valve. I just don't understand how the fuel pressure coming in will affect the electrical circuit 24 volt wise on the gas valve, and in turn obviously fry either the ignition control board, which I've already replaced, and the RTRM board. So I don't know, this is weird. I'm just glad I got it up and running, to be completely honest with you. Hopefully we don't have to worry about coming back and it doesn't act crazy like it did before. So alrighty guys, see you on the next one. Hey guys, headed home now from that job. This thing has been an absolute nightmare. When I finished that video, I noticed that, see, every time I cycled the system, I cycled it through the test pins, because I didn't want to wait for the time delay through the thermostat and all that crap. And I noticed from the last footage that I didn't reconnect my RedLink thermostat, the EIM wires from the EIM to the RTRM board. So I went ahead and connected them and put the door back on the unit, and I grabbed my tool bag, and I thought to myself, well, before I get off the roof, let me just make sure it turns on through the thermostat and it runs. And it's a good thing I did, because I would have had another call back, which I guess I still have one now, but the unit clicked on and the inducer motor ran for about 10 seconds, and before any type of spark ignition or gas operation would happen, the inducer shut off. I went back, opened up the door, and I'm getting the same one flash code on the ignition control, which indicates loss of communication with the RTRM. I looked at the RTRM board, and all my LEDs are not lit. Basically back to square one where I was at when I first got on the roof in the beginning, and the RTRM board was not lit. Obviously I have power, that's not an issue, so it's obviously the board fried again. I don't know exactly what's going on. This is extremely bizarre, but I don't know, like I mentioned in the video, I don't know how low input gas pressure can affect the electrical side of the gas valve, why it was clicking on and off like that. It obviously didn't do it when I put it on a contactor load. I don't see how the EIM is causing it, because the EIM for the RedLink thermostat is just setting 24 volts to W. It doesn't do anything else. I don't know if the RTRM board just had significant damage from when it was clicking like crazy, and it just decided to go out. I don't know. I don't have a clue. I told my boss it's Friday now, and the shop over there, that dealership, was closing, so I'm gonna have to come back out there on Monday with a 5th RTRM board, and I'm gonna replace the small 8-inch wire from the EIM to the RTRM, which I think is okay, but my boss requested that I get that done, so I guess at this point we have nothing to lose. And he wants me to replace the EIM as well. So I don't see how the EIM for the Honeywell RedLink will affect it. I had constant 24 volts between common and W. No dropouts, no sporadic voltages coming from the EIM. So I don't know. This thing's been kicking our tail for the last 2 weeks. So, just one of those things where you just have to keep going at it. Hopefully I can get with a 3rd trane tech support local guy that my boss knows, and maybe he can enlighten the situation here. I don't know. I'm not too pleased with trane tech support. I think they're very subpar. They do have that 1-800 number for the premier trane dealers. I'm sure those guys are a lot more helpful than the local reps, but it is what it is. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, on the way home, hopefully I can get home at a decent time, take my wife out for some dinner, and enjoy my weekend. But you guys have any comments, questions, helpful insight, I would be very pleased to see that. because I'm just scratching my head on this one. Alrighty, guys. See you on the next one.